You just heard a little bit from our senior highs about the Youth Mission Blast this past week right here in Detroit. It was sponsored by the Presbytery of Detroit, involving youth from Detroit, from Canton, Michigan, and from Indiana, at least in the whole week-long project. Here at Fort Street, we hosted several of the meetings for this event, and we'll host again this coming week as another group comes in from Ohio. Thursday was an especially busy day around here, perhaps the busiest I have ever seen since I have been here at Fort Street, with our normal open door program, where youth from the Mission Blast served alongside of our usual volunteers, along with a host of other people who had come in to volunteer for the day. There was a group here from Louisville who were also staying in our building for several days, attending the social forum right over here at Cobo Hall this week. They also joined us on Thursday night and shared with the Youth Mission Blast crew some things about hunger and sustainable healthy food and agricultural practices. Another youth group from Minnesota that was here for the social forum and also was doing mission work that week joined us Thursday evening. Several Fort Streeters, volunteers, and staff from ages 9 to adult were here for many hours to accommodate our guests, to feed a group of probably over 85 people, and then to participate in the worship service that was led by our Fort Street youth. This past week at Fort Street was bustling with activity, and on Thursday we were bursting at the seams with the kind of high energy that makes people want to be in this place and makes people want to get involved. Our guests loved Fort Street. Our guests loved the open door. Our guests loved our building. Our guests loved the people they met. Our guests loved the things that they did here. Great connections were made. Our youth shined brightly as they worked on all kinds of projects, work projects around the city, built relationships, and led worship, and hosted others in the open door program. A lot of mission work was done, many, many good things happened, and much was learned. On Monday, the first day of the Youth Mission Blast, we met at Westminster Presbyterian Church, one of our sister churches here in the Presbytery. And during the worship and orientation time, we watched some movie clips from the movie Karate Kid. And then one of the leaders focused our group on 3 themes of the movie: a life he never wanted, a teacher he never expected. If you fall, you can always get back up. I noticed these themes again in this morning's text from Acts. Now, on Pentecost Sunday, we watched the birth of the church as God's Spirit blew wildly where Jesus' followers met as others gathered around. Spirit was on the move, leaving them bewildered, amazed, astonished, disturbed. But they really hadn't seen anything yet. Stephen, one of the new disciples of this new church, is especially astounding and powerful in his preaching, in his teaching, amazing people who hear him and who see the miracles and wonders that he can do. Stephen's words and actions are also very disturbing to many who hear them, upsetting people to the point of anger and rage, so that they drag Stephen from the city, a shouting, angry mob who lay their coats at the feet of a man named Saul and stone Stephen to death. This young man, Saul, completely approves of this murder, which immediately leads to even more widespread persecution, scattering the people of the church all over. And Saul works intently for the total collapse of the church, spewing murderous threats, going from house to house, dragging men and women too from their homes to put them in prison. I suppose we can assume Paul is pleased with his actions. He certainly is passionate in his zeal to end the church and seems to believe completely in what he is doing as the absolute right thing to do. So it may be safe to say that what is about to happen next changes his life in a way he never wanted. With a sudden flash of light and a tumble to the ground, Paul is encountered by the living Christ, who asks, "Why are you persecuting me?" Paul's response is reasonable. "Who are you?" To which the voice responds, "I am Jesus. You are persecuting me. Now get up and do what I tell you to do. Go to the city where you will receive instructions for what you're to do next." Those traveling with Paul are speechless. They hear the voice, but they see no one. Bewildering, astonishing, amazing, disturbing. Now remember, if you fall, you can always get back up. Well, Saul gets back up off the ground, eyes open but completely blind, the passionate, raging young man needing to be led by the hand into the city, where he sits, now blind, for 3 days, eating and drinking nothing, praying, waiting, but not sure for what. The life Saul wanted? I seriously doubt it. And Saul is not the only one getting a life he didn't want, dealing with things he never bargained for. There is a disciple in the city named Ananias. Ananias hears the call of the living Christ and responds, "Here I am." But then Ananias hears exactly to what he's being called. "Go to a house where you will find Saul. Saul is waiting for you, and he's had a vision that you, Ananias, will come to him and lay your hands on him and help him regain his sight." Bewildering, amazing, astonishing, disturbing. Remember Stephen, that other disciple of Jesus who was stoned to death while Saul guarded the coats of the murderers? Remember how pleased Saul was about the murder and how the persecutions intensified and Saul raged through the region, dragging men and women from their homes and carting them off to prison? Ananias knows all about Saul. He's heard all the stories, the atrocities from many, many sources. And Ananias' eager response, "Here I am," shifts drastically to, "No, wait a minute, hold on here. This is Saul you were talking about, the one who is here right now in this city with a permit to arrest anyone and everyone who follows the Jesus way. This is Saul, the one who would just as soon stone me to death as look at me." And the living Christ answers, "Yeah, I know. Go anyway." The life Ananias wanted? I don't think so. What he thought he'd signed up for? I doubt it. What he thought would be asked of him? Not likely. But Ananias goes. And Saul has been chosen. He's going to be called to a different life. The life he wanted? Maybe not. Saul is going to suffer quite a lot, we find out, and we find this out even before he begins his new journey, his new life.